This is my 2007 Honda Shadow 1100 Spirit. It's got detachable windshield on the front, this little pouch I don't really use, and this bag on the back, which is quite handy. Had the motorcycle about 3 years. It's quite nice, easy to drive. It's not very heavy. Looks nice. Sounds not too bad. Give it a start up here. A little bit of choke. That way, it runs well, low maintenance, sounds not too bad. Kind of a 80s retro styling with these that spoke nose front wheel, kind of the swept back pipes. Talking about it, we might as well take it for a drive. Yeah, so it's a really nice bike. I really like it for cruising around town. Not that it's bad for riding around the highway, but it is really, it's not very heavy. I think it's about a dry weight of about 490 pounds, if I remember correctly. So it feels very light and easy to get around. It's got a disc brake on the front, just a drum on the rear, so it's pretty simple, but it works. And yeah, it's just a pleasure to drive. One thing I've read about the Spirit, I don't know what the exact reasoning is for it that Honda did this, but the in the Spirit model of the 1100 Shadow, I've read that the rear end differential on the bike is geared just a little faster, and I do notice that it is fairly high speed. Like when you start out in first gear and let the clutch out, you're moving pretty good, and most time in town at street speeds, you know, I'm in first and second gear only, whereas I have a Goldwing 1500 that I'm generally into third, cruising down the street like this. So it is a little higher speed, and that's in parking lots. You're riding the clutch a little more, using the friction zone to if you want to go slower, then the bike just puts along in first gear. But also when you have it out on the highway, that fifth gear, it's a 5-speed transmission, the fifth gear, it's just idling along nice and light, so it's quite a pleasure to drive down the highway. It's a nice morning here this morning. Nice and sunny. Not too hot. It's kind of cool. So it's really just a beautiful day to go out for a little cruise. Anyways, we'll probably take it out on the highway a little bit just to demonstrate its ability on the highway, but it is really just a beautiful bike to cruise around town that's also good on the highway, and that's kind of what I like it. You know, if I go for long trips on the highway, I've got another bike. I have a Goldwing 1500, and obviously that I often say the road king is the road king, but the Goldwing is the king of the road. And it is quite a Cadillac to drive down the highway, so it's, when I ride this one, I notice it's not quite as comfortable, mostly just because no floorboards. I don't have any highway pegs on this bike. No cruise control on this bike, and no self-canceling turn signals on this bike, which the Goldwing has all of those features. It also has, you know, not that this isn't a comfortable seat, but it has an even more comfortable seat, and also just a little more pep at the 60 mile an hour and higher speeds, perhaps, than this bike does. But it doesn't have the V-twin sound, doesn't have the V10 cruiser look and appeal, whereas this bike does. So, you know, it's depends what you want in a bike. Guess that's why I have two. Anyways, we'll just head out of town here as soon as I can get about another block ahead.